Okay, now I'm going to do an example of converting between the metric system and the English system. Because we use the English system here, we need to know how to convert between the two. So, for instance, if I said that something was 5 miles, and I want you to tell me how many meters that is. All right. What you need to have in order to do conversions between the metric and the English system is you need to have conversion factors. So the conversion factor that I'm going to give you for this particular example would be that for every 1 mile, there's 1.609 kilometers. All right, so we're just going to do dimensional analysis like we've been doing, but we're just converting now between metrics and English. All right, so if we have 5 miles to start out with, we're going to draw our tracks. If miles is on the top left, miles goes in the bottom right. And this is where you're going to look here at your conversion factor, and you're going to see that you have miles. So on this particular section right here, you are going to have to use your conversion factor that was given. So if 1 mile is 1.609 kilometers, that is where that information would go. But you're not trying to get to kilometers, you're trying to get to meters. So that should seem pretty familiar because that's just what we've been doing before when we were converting between the metric system. So now we're just going to continue our tracks, and we've got kilometers up here in the top left, so we're going to put kilometers down here in the bottom right, and then we're going to go on to meters. So now we have to ask ourselves which one of these is bigger, and we can see on our metric scale that we have in front of us that the kilometer is bigger, so that's what gets the 1. And we know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So now we can do our math. We can calculate this on our calculators. So we have 5 times 1.609 times 1,000. I did not do the dividing by 1 because, guys, that's just going to get you the same number when you divide by 1. So you don't really have to do that step when it's just dividing it by 1. All right, so you should end up with 8,045 meters. Your kilometers cancel, your miles cancel, you're left with meters. All right, one more example here. Let's say that I'm going to do kind of a interesting one. Let's see. Yeah, let's do 1 mile. And I want you to tell me how many hectometers that is. And the conversion factor that I am going to give you is, I'm going to tell you that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. And then I'm also going to tell you that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. And that's the only information that I'm going to give you. You have to figure out how many hectometers that is. All right, so don't stress too much. You're going to do your tracks like you've been doing. So you're going to write what you're given. So in this case, you've got 1 mile. And draw your tracks. If miles goes here at the top left, then you need to put it down here in the bottom right. Kind of shortened it. And look, I've got this conversion factor, so I need to go from miles to feet here. All right, so 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So I'm going to continue my tracks, and I've got feet in the top left, so I need to put feet in the bottom right. Now, how can I get to hectometers? Well, I've got this conversion over here that talks about inches. So can I get from feet to inches? Yeah, you just have to know. I'm sorry, but you have to know this information. You need to know that for every 1 foot, there are 12 inches. I would not give you that information on a test. All right, now you're going to continue your tracks, and since you have inches in the top left, you're going to put inches in the bottom right, and then you're going to go to centimeters. All right, and so for every 1 inch, there's 2.54 centimeters. I hope I'm going to end up having enough room here. Then I'm going to continue my tracks. I'm going to go from centimeters to, do I want to go directly to hectometers? No, I want to go to the base unit. So that would be to meters. So then you have to ask yourself, which one is bigger? Well, the meter's bigger, so it gets a 1. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. And I'm going to draw my tracks. I'm going to go from meters finally to hectometers. And so hectometer is bigger, and there are 100 meters in a hectometer. Finally. See how big this guy is? But it really isn't that bad if you think about it. You know the in-between information. You just have to remember, you have to think about it. So your miles are going to cancel, your feet are going to cancel, your inches are going to cancel, your centimeters are going to cancel, your meters are going to cancel. All right, so let's do this on our calculator. So we have 1 times 5,280 divided by 1 times 12 divided by 1 times 2.54 divided by 1 times 1 divided by 100 times 1 divided by 100. And you end up with that there is 16.09 hectometers. Now, technically this is not correct for your answer, but we have not gotten into significant figures at this point. We will, and I'll have another video over that. If we were doing the correct number of significant figures for this answer, we would have ended up with simply 16 hectometers as our answer. We have 2 significant figures here, and up here we have 2 significant figures. If we go back up to this first example that we did, we have 2 significant figures when we started, so technically our answer here should only be 2 significant figures. The only way to do that is getting into scientific notation. And so if you are going to put this number right here into scientific notation, you would put a decimal at the end, and you would count how many places it takes to make this number between the numbers 1 and 10. So we've got 8.045 times, and we went how many places? We went 1, 2, 3 places. So 8.045 times 10 to the third, and that's meters. But that is still not 2 significant figures. So technically, technically the number would be 8.0 times 10 to the third meters. Hopefully you're not screaming at me at this point because I threw a few other things in there. I promise we will get into significant figures and you will have all of that information, but for now I am mostly concerned with just you using dimensional analysis to convert between the English system and the metric system. All right, I'll catch you on the next video.